What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor here on the JTFB YouTube channel. And we have just wrapped up phase 2 of OTAs for Washington as part of their off-season program going on. And next up, we have a mandatory minicamp that's going to be happening June 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it's coming up soon. And then right after that is training camp, which I am dying to be at. So apparently it's going to be open to the public. I'm going to do everything in my power to get to training camp. So I just wanted to give a couple thoughts on just OTAs, what's happened, phase 2. I did a video on phase 1, so check that out if you haven't already. And just give my thoughts on phase 2, some things that stuck out, some things that I've seen, some things that have been reported. No notes, just kind of off the top of my head. And first of all, before I jump in, I just want to kind of thank everyone. A lot of y'all have known. I don't know how many of y'all follow me on Twitter and stuff. But it's been a rough week, honestly, and I'm trying not to get emotional. But Tuesday morning, I actually lost my dad. And he's the reason I am a Washington fan. He's the reason why, I've been rooting for this team since I was little. I'll never forget he got me my first jersey back in 2001, I want to say it was. It was LeVar Arrington jersey. I forgot who was making it at the time, but it was still when the jerseys had the holes in it. I can't remember who was making them, but it was my favorite jersey. I wore it all the time. But so for me, in my family, it's been you either root for Washington or you root for the Cowboys. And my dad grew up around the team. He grew up going to a lot of things. And as I learned more about that, he just told me about his experiences, with the Super Bowl and just being able to, go to the training camps and stuff like that, going to the games and everything. I wanted to do the same thing. And that's really where my drive to go to training camp, go to all these, opportunities that I get as a fan to really be around this team came from. And then I started bringing him with me. We had a lot of good moments together, a lot of great memories. It kind of happened fast. He passed from lung cancer. Literally found out 3 weeks ago. And on my drive down here to Texas from Virginia, I made a little detour because he was in Mississippi and just saw him. Didn't tell him, so kind of just surprised him, which, obviously he loved. So, I mean, it was good to just see him one last time, talk to him, spend time with him. On my way down here for such a big move. And, I'm going to talk about OTAs and stuff, but I just want me and his relationship. And I might do a video on him sometime. Just, after I kind of get over everything. We never had the perfect relationship, but it's such a good story of, letting go of things and, reconnecting, but then also just, putting things to the side and just making these memories. And I mean, like I said, I went to training camp with him a bunch of times. I brought him with me. Surprised him one time. We went to an Alabama game right at the 40-yard line back in 2015 that Ryan Anderson strip sack on Josh Dobbs to seal it. A crazy game, 3 or 4 rows from the field, just crazy atmosphere. So just moments like that, it's things I'm going to remember, all these Washington memories I have of him. There's so many things that he's given me and passed down to me. If y'all remember back in, I haven't worn it in a while just because I've had it in my box, but it's a gold chain with a gold necklace with the old Redskins logo on it. So just something that I want to do when I have kids one day is pass down this fandom and hope that my kids are Washington fans too. But I just want to thank y'all so much. It's been, like I said, him finding out he had cancer and then us losing him was a 2.5, 3 week period. And I was trying to go down there Tuesday to see him because my aunt was like, you need to come see him. It's not looking good. And unfortunately, Tuesday morning before I could get there is when we lost him. But it's amazing to me how many texts and DMs and replies on Twitter I've just gotten from people I don't even know, people just reaching out to me and being like, hey man, if you need something, and it's so genuine. It's not the hey, prayers for you, cookie cutter. It's such a genuine thing. That's what I love about this fan base, because this isn't the first time I've had this fan base just come and rally around me when I needed it. So I just want to take a second just to thank everyone. Like I said, I don't know how many people on YouTube actually follow me on Twitter. To know what's been going on this past week. I mean, I lost my dog back home Sunday, and then Tuesday morning is when my dad passed away. But I like, this is what he wants me to do. He loved my videos. Like, he would text me all the time after I uploaded one, like, "Hey, just got the notification you did a video, gonna watch it now." Like, he pushed me so much. And I'll never forget when I started the podcast, my first ever one back in July of 2018. God, it's been such a long time. He was actually living with me at the time in Virginia, and we went to training camp, and I got back home. I ordered a bunch of like stuff, some microphones, stuff like that. And I just started talking about it, and it intrigued him so much. And he was just like, "Josh, like, this is what you love to do. You're good at it. Just go be different, go be special, go be you, like, do what you're passionate about." And that's what I'm going to do. So, like, this video is what he would want me to do right now. Kind of debated like how long I wanted to wait to like do videos and stuff like this. But this kind of, I wouldn't even call it like a distraction, just continuing to do what I love, like what I came down here to do. I don't know how many of y'all like religious, and I don't mean to get religious, but I truly believe like me moving down here to Austin was such a blessing and such an opportunity that God really presented to me. And of course, the devil's going to hit you with these obstacles that you have to overcome. Like, I've only been here for 2.5 weeks almost, if that. And like, these two big things have already happened to me. So I'm a strong person. I'm not going to stop for any reason. I've, gone through obstacles before, nothing like this, obviously, doing the content wise, but like this is what I know. So I just want to take a second, not go on this long rant. But I just want to thank y'all so much for the support, and like, I'm dying to be back around this team. So that's what I'm saying. Like, training camp's coming up in July. At least I want to go to that or the joint practices. Like, I'll take off work for something. Like, I just need to be around this team and around football right now more than ever. But like I said, phase one was exciting. It was definitely like a new feel to this team on and off the field, obviously with ownership stuff, Eric Bieniemy, Sam Howell. Like, there's a lot of factors into this season on and off the field that are really contributing to the field, the culture, just the buy-in of this team going into this season. And then phase two, I was like, all right, Chase Young wasn't here phase one, Sweat wasn't here, Leno wasn't. They're not here phase two. They got to be there for mandatory minicamp June 6th, 7th, 8th. So we'll see on that. I think if there's anyone that misses out, it'd be Chase Young, just because we didn't pick up his 5th year. But still, something to keep an eye on. But there's a couple of things that really stood out to me for these, for phase two, which is short. I know people like it's minicamp. What have you really seen about this? It's a couple of things that I just have to talk about. That's super passionate to me. And I will say, back in beginning of May, I tweeted out, I did some research. I've been telling y'all, like, Kendall Fuller is a good corner. He's very underrated on this defense. He's been lights out the last few years. I talked to him on this channel at the draft, not last year, but the year before that. And he said he was more comfortable on the outside. That's where they played him the last 2 years, just fully pretty much on the outside. And he's been excellent on the outside. And I said, it's going to be Forbes and it's going to be Fuller on the outside. And if St. Juice doesn't get that inside spot, which I don't think he will, I think it'll be Quan Martin. Then he's kind of the odd man out. He's going to be corner 3. Then he's going to be the backup for the outside spot. That's what I've really predicted. And then just a couple days ago, John Keim said, reiterated once again, made me feel good, because I feel like I'm, doing the work, doing, the research, really kind of dissecting what I see out of this team, and then just what I know, about this team, is that Forbes is going to be on the outside. They put him on the inside for a little bit. They said don't read into that. Like, that's just them like getting him out of his comfort zone just to see what he can do. So Forbes is going to be on the outside. And they said once again, like, Kendall Fuller is going to be on the outside. He's not going on the inside. He is best on the outside because he can be instinctive. He can use his zone, his range, which we saw that once again the last 2 seasons. He's gotten some interceptions. He's gotten some big pick sixes. I think Kendall Fuller is really showing that right now in his career, he belongs outside. And I'm really predicting Quan Martin being that nickel guy, because I think he, that's something else that's happened in practice lately is Quan Martin's calls and turnovers, whether it's getting interceptions himself or he deflected a pass that Cody Martin got off of a Sam Howell throw, I want to say it was. But you go out and you get two DBs that just cause a lot of turnovers. And I'm going to be doing some position breakdown videos coming up very soon, probably this week. I'm going to get into the routine of doing like 2 or 3 videos a week. Like, I mean, just heavy content, but good, like high quality. I'm not going to be talking about nothing. I have a lot of big things planned that I have written down and, you know, kind of just been going through the last few days. I'm going to do some position breakdowns and then also some expectations. So like Emmanuel Forbes, you know, season expectations, Quan Martin, you know, even guys like Wiley, some free agents we picked up, just, and the guys that are on the team, like Chase Young, what's the expectations for him? So I got a lot of big ideas coming for this season coming up. But I think when you look at Emmanuel Forbes and Quan Martin, my expectations, just a little appetizer of it, I think Quan Martin's going to be the starting corner because he has that experience. Like he was a vet on that secondary, and he calls a lot of pass breakups, which leads to interceptions, which happened in practice. And then also he got a lot of interceptions himself, and same with Emmanuel Forbes. I think those two guys are going to have such an impact on this defense right away as rookies. You know, I look at like a guy as a Tyreek Woolen for Seattle, what he did as a rookie. That's the kind of impact I'm expecting out of Emmanuel Forbes. So a little teaser, a little preview of what that video is going to look like. I mean, Tyreek Woolen had a phenomenal season over in Seattle. So that's what I'm expecting out of Forbes. I'm not going to say, hey, get, you know, 4 or 5 pick sixes this season, something like that. But I think the interceptions are going to be there. I think teams are going to be afraid to throw his way. I think you're going to see a reactive, instinctive corner who is, you know, that ball hawk mentality. Someone who's just in a position to win his reps. So I think the defense has looked great. I think that's been a good early sign so far. Jack Del Rio's fired up. And by the way, if you haven't seen the command log on the team's YouTube channel, they just dropped episode 4, where it's like all about Emmanuel Forbes and that process and how stoked that team was drafting him. Like, go watch that. That whole episode was phenomenal. I've watched it like 3 times. Excuse me, I got some water. But just good, like in depth, like behind the scenes, like breakdown of how excited everyone was to get Forbes. I just love that kind of content. And then of course, I'm gonna do Quan Martin stuff soon. So I think there's big things coming out of those two guys. And it's shown on the field so far. But then on the offense, Eric Bieniemy, and I talked about him a little bit in the phase 1 stuff, just like this is him, you know, implementing his ideas, implementing his blueprint to this offense. Now in phase 2, I've seen more of the coaching style of EB, but then also how much he's really involved. And Ron said himself, like, you know, he's kind of stepped back from that coaching spot. Like he's allowed to, he'll go to the meetings that he wants to be in and he'll say like what he has to. He'll be the head coach, but he's letting Eric Bieniemy really just run this offense the way he wants it to. You know, be ran. And I love that. I hear Eric Bieniemy talk. I just watched their the full press conference that they did with him the other day. It was like yesterday or the day before. It's like 25 minutes long. Just hearing him talk, how much he loves the group of guys, you know, speaks highly of Terry McLaurin, says like this is the, you know, top-notch pro. Like this is what you want every player to be like, just a top professional. That's what you want in your locker rooms. And I think the same could be said against, you know, with guys like Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. Like feel like Washington has such a, I won't say cookie cutter, like this is what they want. Like this is what they want all of their players to kind of be like, because it allows everyone to really just grow together and be part of something. And we've seen that. It's just, it hasn't been able to translate that well, but because of the quarterback position. And I think somehow fits into what that culture that Washington's really building, you know, the personality, the buy-in from the team with each player, and the trust and the respect. I think somehow fits that mold. So I think Eric Bieniemy is just all hands on right now, you know, really talking about, you know, up speed, you know, up tempo, 2-minute drills. Like, guys, we need to be hitting these home right now. And if you look back at that Kansas City team, obviously you have Pat Mahomes. You've got probably the best tight end of all time with Kelsey. There's a lot of games where it's like 2-minute warning, I mean, the Buffalo Bills game 2 years ago, you look back at the Raiders game last year, there's a lot of games. I mean, even the Super Bowl, there's times where they had to score with not much time on the clock. Kansas City was a juggernaut in these fast, up-tempo, 2-minute drill offenses. And Eric Bieniemy's like, guys, we need to get towards that. Like, obviously, we don't have Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, but we need to be, have that sense of urgency, know what's going on, be comfortable with what's going on, but then also just being able to execute it at a high level. So that's something that stood out. He's, spoken really high of Sam Howell, just saying like how good he looks on the field, how critical he is of himself. And, when he does something wrong, he is the first one to point it out. Like, I should have done this before, which is good. You don't want a quarterback, especially a younger guy like Sam Howell. He's got a lot of experience though. 3 years at North Carolina. You don't want a quarterbacks like making a mistake and then like keep coming back to that. He's very quick. Eric Bieniemy said, and it's something I've noticed, talking to him over the years, and then also at North Carolina studying their offense with Phil Longo and everything. Sam Howell was just so quick to be able to change what had to change. First 2 years at North Carolina didn't really run much. They lost everything his third year. He decided, hey, my legs can be a factor. I need to implement that more. Let's change the offense a little bit on my own. That's what he told me. He's like, it wasn't some like pre-design we had going into the season. Like, hey, we need to change this. He decided for himself that, hey, I'm going to implement my legs more because I know it's a threat and it's going to help our offense. And it absolutely did. He had his best rushing season, that final season at North Carolina. So it's just him being able to know, like, this is what I need to do to elevate this team, to make this team better, to get the ball into the hands of our playmakers, but then also my game helping us win games is big. Like, if he throws an interception, we saw in the Dallas game, threw the interception, he came back. It wasn't like like just a downhill slope of turnovers or anything like that. He was quick to get back and getting in rhythm, and the best was yet to come in that game. The deep pass to Terry, the run where he's knocking dudes over at the goal line, and such. So, I mean, Sam's looked good. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, Eric Bieniemy loves what he's seen. I love listening to Eric Bieniemy talk, and it really has a feel that Eric Bieniemy like will be the next head coach. I think a lot of people already think that. It just feels like right now he's like in training, like, you start a new job and like you have someone that's like been there for a little bit, kind of like Ron Rivera. And then you're like, what you're doing, but like you're just on this training for a little bit. It's like me, like when I transferred down here to Texas, I know what I'm doing. Like I've been doing this since like 2018 at my job my real job. But it's just different at this store. So I'm like learning new things here, but like, I'm ready to go. Like I'm like, all right, guys, like I know what I'm doing. Like, let me loose. Let me get out on the floor and take care of stuff. So like it has that feel for me. Like Eric Bieniemy is in training, but he's gonna be the next guy. Like he just talks like a head coach. I love listening to him talk. He's super passionate. He knows what he's talking about. He's a super smart guy, and I have no doubt that like at least at the end of this season, if not before then, Eric Bieniemy will be the head coach of this team. And of course, I know the ownership, change and stuff like that. I think anyone smart that sits down with Eric Bieniemy knows that he is head coach quality. So big things have come in these first two phases with Eric Bieniemy, with Sam Howell, implementing that offense. Of course, now you've got Forbes versus Terry McLaurin a lot on practice. We've seen some of those videos come out. Just, iron sharpening iron, just the best going at each other. That's what I look for in practices. Like, that's what I want to see. Him and Terry, Forbes and Dotson, like, give me it all. Give me all that stuff. But from what it sounds like, the defense has been flying around the field. Cody Barton, he's made some big plays so far. That's another one I'm going to do a expectation video on, like expectation for Cody Barton this season. What's it look like? What can we expect? What's the ceiling? What's the floor kind of thing? But I mean, I'm excited. The mandatory minicamp is like when all the vets have to be there. All the rookies are there as well. It's just like, that's it. Those are the first 3 days before we start really prepping for training camp. But I mean, I hope y'all have been enjoying the content that the team's been putting out. It's been a lot of good stuff. But for me, phase 2 was that Quan Martin and Emmanuel Forbes are going to be exactly what I was expecting. and what the hopes I have for both of them. And then Eric Bieniemy is going to be a special difference maker, and getting someone like that. I know it's offensive coordinator. It's not like we have a new head coach like Sean Payton, out in Denver or something like that. But people don't realize how much of a difference having him here is really going to change his team. And if Sam Howell is the guy, and I think he is, how much that really just catapults this team into like a consistent winning, playoff caliber team. I think that's what the ceiling is this year. I don't see a reason we can't make the playoffs, especially in the NFC this year. And mostly because of Eric Bieniemy, what he can do and what he can bring to this team, but also with Sam Howell as well. If he is that guy and he's playing all 18 weeks, I guess technically now of the season, then I think we have a good chance to make the playoffs. So big things come out of the first two phases of OTAs. Like I said, if I've heard that training camp's open to the public, and if it is, I'm absolutely going to do everything in my power to fly home. I don't care if it's for a day and then fly back. I've been doing that a lot already, traveling around. I'll absolutely do that for training camp. I love training camp. And then same with the joint practices. I'm looking to get at some of these things. Do some video, bring out some more content and stuff. Like I said, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoy, and always drop your comments. I love seeing what y'all think. Y'all's opinion, not only on the video, but everything going on, with Eric Bieniemy, Sam Howell, the rookies, what y'all think, what you want to hear some more stuff of. But like I said, I got some big things planned coming up. Expect 2 to 3 videos per week. Coming up now with the position breakdowns, kind of just looking at it overall, like what I think is going to happen throughout the season, some changes I think that could happen. But then also just some of these expectations of certain players, rookies, vets, new guys. I'm going to be talking about it all. I mean, it feels like it's a long time away, but it's really not. But I'm going to break all this down before the season starts. So I appreciate y'all tuning in on this video. Going to be doing I might do Mania Forbes first for the expectations video, even though I already did like a defensive rookie of the year case video, which check that out too. I think that was pretty good. So I might skip him and go somewhere else. I might go Quan Martin first. I really like Quan's game. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Once again, thank y'all for the support through everything that's been going on. And I'm Josh Taylor on the JTFB channel. Peace.